Welcome back, everybody, to the League of Legends Championship Series. I am Jack, here joined by X Special. After their ridiculous 56-minute win over Curse, how'd you feel about that game being so long?
We're not used to having such long games. Honestly, it didn't even feel like a 56-minute game. It was like, It was pretty intense, and then there were some slow points where the game kind of dragged on, and there were some bad team fights. And then, the game just got to a point where, we should have won a lot earlier. It was what we felt like. But in the end, we pulled through, and we're just happy.
So what's the difference in a game that's that long as compared to a regular, like, 35-minute TSM game? Once you get past the 35-minute point, does the communication change? What happens?
At the beginning of the season, we're like, we literally have to win, or we're gonna get booted out of the LCS, and it's just our motivation right now is just we want to get to Worlds, we want to win playoffs, and that's really our motivation. And as in years, we try harder and harder, and hopefully it's enough. But honestly, we should have been as good as right now 3-4 weeks ago.
And you guys do, pardon it being obvious, but you seem to have an on switch, because once you picked up Wild Turtle last split, you just started winning. We were really down in the dumps at some point this season, and you started winning. Why is that you guys are able to turn it around kind of on and off?
That's a strange question. I think part of it is just that just the players on the team, other than Turtle, has been on the team for so long. And it's just, we know that we have the potential. And it's really about everybody getting motivated and everyone all trying their hardest at once. When if one person on the team is slumping, then the team obviously doesn't do as well. But when everyone's playing at their best, that's when the team shines the brightest. And that's just how it is right now. We all want to do our best. And right now, the team is performing a lot better. But I mean, there's still kinks, and we're still working that out. And hopefully, by the end of playoffs, we can show that TSM could potentially be the best team in North America again.
And I got time for one more question here. You guys have a very tough schedule from here on out. How have you been preparing for the harder teams in the LCS?
It's motivation, honestly. We want to go 8-0, and we're 1-0 right now. We have 7 more games to go, and we want to get that second place spot. First place, a bit far off. We don't really expect to get that. So if we can 8-0, we can do anything. That's sort of the mentality. If we go 7-1, well, it's a bit not as good, but hey, at least we're probably going to get second. So we're going to try our hardest to get that 8-0, and if we accomplish it, that's just our goal, and then we move on. Playoffs, Worlds, Season 4, etc.
Awesome stuff. Thank you very much, X Special. Again, congratulations on your win over Curse, and best of luck in the rest of the season as you guys try to make your run. But for now, we have more action and 2 more games to come. Let's send it back to freaking Kobe on the desk.
Thanks very much, Jat. And as you said, it's time for our 5th match of the day, which is Counter Logic Gaming versus Vulcan. Now, this is the final meeting of the summer between these two teams. ManCloud and crew are coming off, much-needed win over Velocity earlier today.
So that was their only their second win in their last 5 games. So pretty big discrepancy right there. And they jumped out to an early lead, and they were able to avoid making the same late game mistakes that they made in their recent losses to Cloud9 and to CLG. And while Vulcan scooped up their 13th win of the summer today, one more win, that's basically one more win than they had all of the last split. So yeah. CLG are really in a hard time now, too, because they felt the team coast for the 3rd time in a row. That loss really dropped CLG. It's 3 games behind Vulcan now.
Yeah, so they've got to bring this one back, right? If they lose to Vulcan in this match, they're 4 games back with only 6 games to go, so it's going to take a lot to get them into this one. And
while it wouldn't be impossible for them to win and take 2nd place, it's going to be a while before they can make a big push for 1st or something like that, trying to get into the regional playoffs. So it'd have to be an epic collapse by Cloud9 for one of these other teams to take 1st place.
Yeah, so they got a long road ahead of them in the playoffs then if they make it there. But the good news for CLG is that so far this summer they've beaten Vulcan in 2 of the 3 games they've met, including their game last week.
So Vulcan actually jumped out to a huge lead in that game with ManCloud on Orianna and Zuna on Twitch. Vulcan took first everything. His first tower, first dragon, first baron, but Link put CLG on his back. And with some sneaky plays, he carried them to a comeback victory. He caught out both those players that we just talked about, Zuna on Twitch and ManCloud and Orion, on some very key plays that were enabled his team to really turn it around.
Yeah, so we'll see if Link can pull off another charming performance today. We sort of talk about the early mid-game presence from Vulcan, and if he can get the Ahri, get some of the roams down, maybe that'll help a little bit. But guys, we got the game soon, so let's check out the lineups. On the blue side, it is Counter Logic Gaming. Nian in the top lane, Big Fat LP in jungle, Link in mid, Doublelift for the AD carry, and Chouster on support.
And on the red side, it's Vulcan. Psycho Sid is up top, Smithy's in the jungle, Mandatory Cloud is mid, Zuna's on AD, and Bloodwater is supporting.
And before we get into Champions Select for this match, let's see who you guys think is going to win this game. According to LOLesports.com, 54% of you guys think that CLG is going to come out on top. That's a really
That's
close
barely
one.
any.
Yeah.
that's extremely close to a 50-50 game here.
But as we talked about, that's kind of the good luck charm for Vulcan. If they're down in the vote, they tend to perform a little bit better.
Yeah, and it really is telling of the last game that we saw between these 2 guys. It was so close, and Vulcan were ahead. A lot of people thought that they were going to take it, but a few missteps by either team can really decide this entire matchup.
And we'll see if they can do that, of course. It is a close series between the 2. I believe back in the spring split, I think it went 2-2 as well. I remember a lot of really close games on both sides. This was, I think, like way back when CLG was one of Vulcan's first wins. When they brought out a heavy poke comp and CLG didn't bring any engage, they just kept throwing javelins at them, and ManCloud's neatly eventually won them the game for this one. But here we go in a champ select. It's the last game of the split for these 2 teams fighting each other. We'll see if Vulcan can tie up the series.
And a first ban on Ashe here from CLG. They know something that I don't know, because
Zuna's been running it a little bit recently.
Yeah, they're not looking for this terror of the Ashe Zyra lane. It's really spread from Cloud9. After the first game, people weren't that quick to pick it up. But after repeated success, and Cloud9 have won every game that they've run Ashe Zyra, pretty much everybody's picking it up now.
It's a very, very fearsome pickup, though. And, of course, the Elise dropped away from Nian. We call him Spider-Man here in the North American LCS. Does a very good job in the champion. Peter Parker, whichever. But of course, Tristana, though, it's interesting that Zuna's banning that one out. He's been playing different champions. We see, like, the permaban of Tristana against Doublelift, even though it's a Zuna special, or at least used to be.
It's pretty funny, actually, that they keep banning out Tristana against Doublelift, because he hasn't used it in a while, and it's not really core to the new direction that CLG are really moving in. So it's kind of funny, especially that it's Zuna, because that's his go-to champion, and he's having to ban out his favorite little Yordle.
And I feel like Nian's trolling me here. I would like if they played Teemo. I don't think they're going to. I think the Jarvan is probably the more likely pickup here, and it's just it's a nice high contested pick here. The of course the Evelynn ban we talk about a little bit. Smithy did a very good job with that champion last time around, and then you kill off the Evelynn, and you're like, okay, well Smithy, pick something else. to screw with their bottom.
So
lane.
that's just a good job of CLG watching the games today. After their game, they didn't just leave and go home. You know, they're definitely putting in the work here. Saw that. It's a very reactive ban to what happened in the last game. And meanwhile, you already mentioned the Jarvan, but Zach also, CLG played this earlier today. It was a key part of their composition for their engage and their backline disruption. It can either go jungle or top lane still.
Absolutely, and we'll see what they end up doing with it in this game, of course. Very strong either way. Good split pusher, good engager, good a lot of things, honestly. Vulcan, whoa, he picked up Sona. Oh my god. Floodwaters on Sona, Smithy looking for his jungler. Jarvan would not surprise me.
You sound a little fake in your
I
you're
am
surprised there,
I am
Freak.
so
Just
surprised.
Checking. But it is Bloodwater's go-to support. Everybody's well aware that he loves making the game-changing flash crescendos on that one. And it looks like taking away the Jarvan, you know, CLG mousing over that one. Vulcan are already aware that they used it earlier today, so they're not going to give him that combo again.
Yeah, so I'm trying to think of other big fat LP junglers. Nocturne is in there certainly as an option, but Evelynn, Elise, Jarvan all dropped away. So a few options removed there from the CLG jungler, going to kind of a second string champion pool now.
And Vulcan trying to hide their comp as long as possible, throwing in the support and the jungler there early means that they get to save their solo lane picks and really the defining characteristics of their comp. But they already have it locked down. The crescendo is always a core component to the Vulcan squad.
So CLG now with 20 seconds to go on their side have to start making some real choices here. One of their carry roles is going to have to be revealed at this point. They can't just pick two. I mean, they could. They're CLG. They could pick two supports. And speaking of which, Orianna and Thresh, oh, it's halfway. It's halfway. CLG going for a lot of similar champions here. The Ballista combo of Orianna Zac back here again. Didn't quite work out against Coast, but maybe they got the chance here. Thresh in there as well. I think this is still an identical comp to last time.
Yeah, so again, CLG, they're thinking team fights once again, and they're looking for the AoE control. Not only the backline disruption, but also Link's shockwaves have been just beautiful. He can turn around an entire game. Even if he does get 2 versus 1 lane early, he's still able to get enough farm that they are very impactful spells.
So as long as the team can keep themselves from falling behind early on as they did against Coast, these guys should be in a pretty good spot right here to turn around those endgame team fights as we talk about. Those great shockwaves. They mean so much for these guys. But Vulcan, though, they've got to make their own choices. ManCloud might be returning on... Well, I shouldn't say returning on Ahri. These guys have fought Orianna versus Ahri like back and forth this whole season. And it's now also Zuna on Twitch.
See, this is the thing about Vulcan first picking the Jarvan and Sona. All right, the Sona and whatever, yeah.
Yeah, the Jarvan and Sona. No, you got it.
Doesn't matter what order they're in. They can hide it, and now bringing out the assassin that is Ahri, they do have extra pick potential here. An Ahri solo lane with a Jarvan coming from the jungle is very scary early, and that combo can take out anyone.
So Link's gonna have to be afraid for himself, maybe get a bit of a shield, and try to survive the damage coming out right here. A little scary to go alone in the mid lane. Vulcan, of course, they've got 4 champions on their side. CLG making their own choice. You see Chouster on your screen there, the major shot caller there. What are the major forces in champ select as well? Saying, okay, guys, we need our AD carry. We need a jungler or top laner here. What fills in our lineup? They're going to make the decision soon.
And Jad already talked about the Thresh for Chaucer there. A lot of people do give him a lot of criticism for the early Thresh plays because there were some very interesting choices there, but I feel like he stepped it up, and he is a decent Thresh now. He's made some amazing saves with the Lanterns, as well as some really good death sentences to pick people back off here.
Yeah, and now CLG have added more damage to their big area of effect combo, as opposed to last time where I want to say it was like, it wasn't Shen, I'm blinking on the other big player that was there, but they've added Vladimir for heavy damage output on top of the Orianna. They've also gone for that double of special of Vayne.
Yeah, the double of special is very interesting in this last 2 picks because not only is Vayne a split pusher that CLG are comfortable with, and they've used double lift to split push on that Vayne. In the late game, I mean, she doesn't shove the waves that well until she gets Sack Shiv, but they've picked up Vladimir, who is notorious for going Ghost Flash and solo laning until very, very late in the mid game and just being one of those solo lane bullies. So they actually have 2 options here for the side pushers and where they want to feed that farm.
Why not both? Why not have them both split push?
There you go.
Go everywhere. And of course, now Vulcan making their last choice. They've gone here for the Jace. We normally call that a ManCloud special. He tends to be like I tend to associate him with Jace a bit more, but Psycho Sid certainly no slouch either. Has had a great split. So there we go, the lineup. A bit of poke added into this Vulcan lineup.
And it gives them a bit of speed for if they do want to disengage. If they have Ahri looking for picks and looking for kills off a little bit away from the rest of the team, then they can use the acceleration gate defensively. The problem with having it for defensive purposes and for poke is that the cooldown was just increased on it. So it's a much larger cooldown, and they actually have to make that choice beforehand.
So let's see if Vulcan can coordinate themselves in this one. Then the longer, excuse me guys, the longer cooldown on those, gonna be pretty powerful. So guys, this is an important match here. CLG, as we said, a couple of games out of second place, but certainly within reach for these guys. A win here knocks Vulcan down by 1, would bring them to 13-9. A win would bring CLG to 11-11, back to tied with TSM. They want to make sure their playoff hopes are as good as possible, and that's going to be the hope here for CLG. They're going to try to pull out a win here.
And we talked about before earlier in the day, Doublelift's, bad scores against Team Coast. He actually has very good scores against Vulcan. The last time was, 16-5. So he's very confident in this one. And whenever you have a confident Doublelift, you have a confident CLG.
Yeah, and at 16-5, 19 for Doublelift in this lineup. ManCloud, though, has had his own really good performances so far against his team. He's gone 16-8-13 this season against, or this split, I should say, against CLG. So a couple of big playmakers here. We'll see if they are still the ones to watch as we get into the game. Counter Logic Gaming on the blue side, spawning the bottom left. Vulcan in the top right in red. Let's see what these guys do for their level 1.
I do like the Doran shield coming out on the end, so he's definitely prepared for a 2-versus-1 situation, especially with Vladimir. Being able to sustain very well is extremely important. Yeah, and we're looking to just sit in that lane as long as possible.
I feel like even if he fought Sid, he would have a hard time in the early levels, just because Vlad's level 1 is so weak in general. So Nian wanted to get himself to the late game and not get poked out here. CLG very much grouped up. They ran past a ward, so Vulcan knows where they're going. But CLG power and numbers have taken control over the blue buff, putting, I'm guessing, a ward down there. But Vulcan have done the exact same thing on the other side of the map.
And CLG here, seen out by this banana bush ward from the side. So now they have some extra vision, but Vulcan know that there's some fishy business going on in that blue side.
They've been directly pinged right here. CLG walk right out. Vulcan knows they've left the brush as well and moved in towards the mid lane. So still, CLG, they're trying to be sneaky, but they don't know they're standing basically in ward range doing all of this. Vulcan now knows CLG have gone down to their side, their red side jungle. So looks like early wards did come down pretty successfully on both sides, but maybe a late invade here for CLG.
CLG, since they do have their AD and support down bottom, they can do the delayed invade over on blue side. And with only Psycho Sid there to defend, they'll be successful if they just commit to it.
And here we go. Yeah, they've got the numbers advantage. Psycho Sid waiting in the wings right here. He's not going to be able to stop much. Doublelift just tumbling away and doing damage to that blue buff. This will be Big Fats without much difficulty here. So there we go. Standard stuff. Smithy getting his own red as well. Looks like a pretty standard level 1 setup here. And now it just kind of begs the question, can Smithy grab the CLG blue buff?
So the difference is that Big Fat LP used his smite because they weren't quite sure. They had Nian looking at their own blue buff and didn't see anybody, so he wasn't quite sure where Jarvan is. Didn't want to take any chances. Whereas Smithy felt secure in his red buff, and he didn't use his smite. So this will be an easy takeaway for Jarvan.
And I think some of that might have just been, being afraid of the soul laners doing stuff to him. Link right now is pushing the lane against ManCloud, trying to make him lose minion kills against the turret, but right now they're exactly identical here. And Link is on the wrong side of the lane. He gets charmed up, takes a bit of damage, and he's available for a gank from Smithy.
Wow, one of the reasons that you pick Ahri in the laning phase is that she has kill potential. She's one of the few mages that has a really high amount of kill potential. And like we said, the combo with a Jarvan jungle is extremely, extremely dangerous.
All right, Smithy, ManCloud, can you guys join together? Right now, Smithy's actually joined with his bottom lane. Wants to take down the cannon minion, wants to take down this turret early on. Nian gonna be forced towards the back, but here comes Doublelift in just to kill some minions.
Doublelift in, Nian out. So it looks like we are gonna have both of the 3-man lanes taking in the first turrets.
And here we go. First one going down at 3:30 roughly right there. Vulcan happily taking this one away. Zuna on Twitch getting some good farm for himself. 17 minions. Doublelift, very similar situation on Vayne. Gonna be happy to take this one down as well. So the turret trade is there. And now the question is, where do the recalls go? What happens to the solo laners? What happens to the duo lanes? And actually look at this. CLG delaying the turret kill to have it deny more minions here, whereas Vulcan are just pushing down, looking for another turret kill.
So Vulcan, they don't want to let Nien freeze the wave down here, so they're going to continue pushing with their two people. They want to get more damage onto this turret, and the only reason they back off is because Zach returned to his lane.
But they've gotten around behind Link right here. They've got the ability to jump on him, forces Link's flash away. So, flash down, but Doublelift, look at that, still alone in this lane with a level lead on Psycho Sid, getting some free farm.
He doesn't have vision, but look at the pings out there on Jarvan, so that's going to signal him to back off a little bit and be a bit more cautious. There's no deep wards on that blue buff right there for them, so he's going to have to return.
Okay, so here is the lane freeze we talked about for Nien. This is where his reality is going to be for now. Is level 3 doing a pretty good job last hitting. Finally 12 minion kills. Nien is finally getting gold. All right, Big Fat LP doesn't find anything to kill though up in his mid lane, so nothing grabbed here. And you're seeing that despite all the shenanigans early on, the gold pretty close between these two teams, one turret apiece.
And both of the solo laners are trying to do the same thing here, just last hitting, not increasing the push speed of their minion wave. But the thing is, usually when we see that happen, it's a ghost flash Vladimir. So Nien is more vulnerable than the average Vladimir pushing up like this. And since he has no vision and no turret to fall back on, he actually has to be just as careful as Psycho Sid has to be.
And so here we go then. Psycho Sid also doing the slow push right there. These solo laners, if they get jumped on, as you say, will have to be a little bit defensive. So Nien now realizes that, hey, it's pushing out. I'm going to stack my Tides of Blood. I'm going to shove this one to the turret. And hopefully it reaches the turret before Zuna shows up here. Wanting to deny as much gold to the turret as possible. Might just be successful.
What would be optimal would be if he could stay up there and continue the pressure on that turret, but since he has no vision, since he has no ghost, he can't stay up there with the minion wave, and that's basically just going to be up to Zuna to last it under turret so that they don't lose any money.
Well, and Zuna's doing a pretty good job of that one. Berserker's Greaves and the Doran's Blade, and you look at that, he's getting the gold for each minion he's hitting right there. So I want to keep track of these AD carries because I feel like they mean so much for these teams. Zuna, a typical late game AD carry. We tend to see him on the Tristanas and Twitches and whatnot. Doublelift on Vayne here. No stranger to that champion. See how the late game carries do. Smithy not finding the gank on Link. So far these AD carries have a lot of farm and they will be late game threats.
And there's always that potential for the outplay, as you guys talked about with Vayne before. And everyone loves to see the Vayne mechanics coming from Doublelift. So once he does get the Blade of the Ruined King and he's got that extra sort of spell available to him, we'll start to see the fireworks go off here and the dueling potential.
CLG already trying to make some moves though. Big Fat LP has picked up a pink ward and used it here with the Dragon as Zuna is just freezing the top lane right here. So they're using that minion wave to keep Zuna pinned up and going for a Dragon 5v4.
This stage of the game, the Dragon does a decent amount of damage. So Vulcan are going to try and take this opportunity to delay CLG and make them take more damage from the Dragon.
They're doing what damage they can. The jump comes in here. The acceleration get helping the team run away. But Big Fat LP was still tanking the Dragon, forced to jump back into the fight, but ManCloud is delaying. Look at the Dragon, regens back up, and Zuna still got to farm. Great defense there by Vulcan.
That's what I was talking about, just making CLG tank that Dragon for an extended period of time at this stage in the game. Even Zach cannot handle that. Even with the regen that he gets, picking up the blogs and receiving 4% of his max HP back, he's not able to tank it up for long enough. And with only 4 men, Vulcan came out of that with a win.
Good stuff there, and now it's CLG's turn to send someone to the top lane. Nien must soak up that minion wave, and Zuna's roaming around. He's actually starting on the blue buff, and depending on Vulcan's knowledge, he might get this.
Zuna doing a lot of work, actually, and he's got Smithy coming to protect him here, so even if Big Fat LP showed up with a smite, they would have an answer. And just to be careful here, Smithy uses his and takes that.
Yeah, smites it away. Chaucer making a good call to Lantern the Brush. Say, is someone there? Oh, they stole our blue. Oh, crud. Nice move, Vulcan. All right, fine. Frickin' A. So Smithy and ManCloud.
So that's what his inner monologue sounds like. I've always wondered.
God, man. Oh, that sucks. All right. Well,
now, the reason that they were able to do that is because they also had the timer on it. Because remember, we had it it wasn't really anyone stealing away blue buffs as they sort of traded, but it was the opposite team's blue buff that both junglers got.
So well done by these guys. Vulcan, Zuna, making his way back to the top lane with a friend, with Smithy. Now, Nien has every cooldown available, except for E for 2 seconds, but Zuna has stealthed up. He's going to find Nien. Lands the slow. Here they go.
And Zuna goes right into his face for this one, so he takes so much damage that has to flash away and barrier.
And there we go. They re-engage, then onto Nien. Has to flash, and there is the Cataclysm. First blood picked up. Good job, Zuna. And now Doublelift looking for the outplay. Smithy in the brush, though. Waits, flag tosses away. Doublelift cannot dive the turret. Good stuff there by Vulcan.
So moves like that can get Zuna into trouble, but I mean, and that was a position where it definitely could have backfired because they didn't have vision. But right in that case, doing it as quickly as possible was the best choice. So just rushing in there, headstrong, they were able to pick up the kill. Only problem is because he lost so much life and had to use both his flash and his barrier, they lost control of that lane. And actually trading for that for a turret is great for CLG.
That's beautiful stuff there. So yeah, using not just champion kills, but champion damage as an impetus for pushing down. It's a great adaptation by these CLG guys, showing their wealth of knowledge as a team. And there we have it, 2-1 in turrets. Vulcan have still built themselves a gold lead from minion kills, but Mancloud gets caught out. He's gonna get the left bounce. There's a shockwave. Beautiful right there. Big Fat LP picks up the kill, and now Zuna is not in the best place ever. Forced to run away, uses his slow from the Bilgewater Cutlass, and Bloodwater saves his life as the rest of CLG shows up mid.
Beautiful shockwave from Link right there. That was the first one. Called it out at the beginning of the game, and he did pull that one off. Now they're going to return to that dragon, see if they can do it this time with actually having a member dead on Vulcan.
And they've pulled Nien in from the side as well. Chaucer taking it up for now. Now Big Fat LP the one to take this out. Smite is almost available for Smithy. He might just look for a steal. He's got the reveal, of course. The Shock Blast comes across, puts down another flag. Will he get it? Nuh-uh. That's going to be Big Fat LP.
Now, the adaptation that CLG made here was not only that they actually killed the highest priority target on Vulcan, which is Mancloud, but they traded the aggro on that dragon back and forth to mitigate the damage to Big Fat LP. And not only did they have Nien tanking it half the time, but they also wasted Dragon's DPS time by making it turn its head 180 degrees, straight from Big Fat LP all the way back to Nien and then roundabout.
But Vulcan, though, have actually answered the damage that Dragon dealt with a mid lane push, taking 2 turrets for all of that. That is actually just massive. That now twice we've seen a team quote-unquote win a battle when the other team takes a turret lead out of it.
That's why Vulcan is second place in the standings right now. They put a lot of emphasis on the objectives, and you have to remember that it's not just whose name is flashing in lights and the scoreboard there who does get the kill, but it's the control that your team has of the different areas of the map at each time because of the damage dealt to the champions.
And Big Fat LP looking to scare these guys away. Jumps in on Mancloud. Goodbye, Ari. Shockwave comes across, and the Crescendo as well with Lantern pulls the rest of CLG to safety, and they get away from this one clean. Nice pickup, CLG.
Beautiful coordination from CLG right there. Even Ari, one of the most slippery mages, had no chance. Sucked in by the Shockwave and then knocked back by Big Fat LP right there. Great combination.
And yeah, tried to use the Spirit Rush, did not let him get out of this one. So Zuna is back on split push duty. He is trying to be that farm Twitch, has the most minion kills in the game, so 96 right there. So Vulcan's attempt to get a big Twitch has paid off so far. However, his team may have suffered for it a little bit. Mid lane kill, again, really good for CLG. And Nien still in the split push, getting pretty big on Vladimir as well.
So they're trying to answer here, and Vladimir being their fed side carry answer is a very good choice. His AoE that he can bring to the team fights, especially in the late game, can easily turn that one around. And you see Doublelift is taking up the duties. Zuna just shoved this wave forward, but wasn't able to get all the way to the turret. So that free time is actually pretty much equalized right here. It's answered by Doublelift taking up all the farm that was pushed up.
So there we go then, the big AD carries, both going Blade of the Ruin King, both trying to get themselves into late game status. We'll see who's going to be more powerful when the team fights finally begin. Because Mancloud, he's having a decent game, I guess. 96 minion kills, getting himself towards the Deathfire Grasp. Might just get to kill Doublelift in a team fight. Something he has to be aware of is the Assassins.
And it looks like we have Big Fat LP coming in to help Link take a blue buff once again. We talked about side lane pushes here from CLG, but Link always with the most farm here, just sticking in the mid lane. He's constantly been also taking side jungle camps. And so the Orianna is going to be a really main threat for them.
You're absolutely right. He's got a big completed item already at only 13 minutes. Sork Shoes and Athene's Unholy Grail. 106 minions, 2 champion kills. Very, very scary Link right here. That's going to be,
And this, this is why there are so many CLG fans that are specifically Link fans, because he's so consistent and he always is that threat. We've seen 2 shockwaves and we've seen 2 kills. Very, very good use of his cooldowns.
And the catch almost on a Psycho Sid. Chowster forcing the flash away from Vulcan's Jace play right there, having to sit towards the back. Nien sitting here actually just happily just holding this turret against 2, knowing he could pull away if he got jumped on. So Nien, now that he can kill off waves with 2 E's, is really keeping turrets alive despite 2v1s.
Yeah, we just saw firsthand right there the reason Vladimir is often chosen for those duties is because even with 2 people, he can wave clear quite easily. Big Fat LP just being a little sneaky there, by the way. You can see the fog of war, but here goes ManCloud.
Yeah, they actually interrupted the jump back. The shockwave only hits 1, but can they re-engage? Land some damage on a Link. He's going to shield himself here, and ManCloud forced to jump on back. Of course, shockwave was down. Play used as well. Poke on a double lift. He's going to have to run backwards. Bloodwater does have flash crescendo. They get, oh, that was beautiful, but they catch double lift anyway. He stays alive. 1 more hit to go. He's still not going down. Oh, Zuna gets it with the expunge. Big Fat LP trying to get himself out of there, does just survive, but Vulcan does win that fight by a kill.
Despite the quick reaction from double lift right there. The condemn, as soon as he saw Big Fat LP flash, he knew he was going to come in for the combo, queued up that condemn, and popped it as soon as he got into range.
So beautiful right there, and now Vulcan, you're seeing them look to maybe collapse on 1 more kill if they can find it. They don't see Chowster. They don't quite get the middle turret either, but if someone looks at it the wrong way, that could just fall over. CLG has to be aware of this mid lane.
They got so much damage on that mid turret just for that pick. It was a great win for Vulcan right there. But since it's so early in the game and only 15 minutes, they can't siege up during it.
Well, Toby, as we wait for the teams to regroup again, we do have a replay of that last fight.
All right, so let's take a look at that condemn. There it was, and the tumble almost even got him out of range of that crescendo, but they were finally able to finish him off. So Vulcan, not only were they able to finally chase down Double Lift and burn his summoner spells, but the most important part was the damage on that mid turret that we talked about.
So huge stuff then. Vulcan have been able to push the mid lane actually a lot. You remember back when the Dragon went down for CLG, Vulcan was able to actually push the mid lane down for 2 turrets there. So that seems to be a big point of contention for these guys. And it's worked out in Vulcan's favor here. The wave clear from ManCloud very strong as well. Able to get rid of caster minions in 1 queue. And that's a good thing for Vulcan to have.
Vulcan, with the new Muramana here, it takes a lot longer to get that one. So the Jace spike is a long ways off for them before they actually get that Muramana, and they're actually happy trying to stall for another 10 minutes till he does get the final upgrade. And you can see they're just trying to poke CLG off this dragon, just like they did in the early game, trying to delay it.
But the pink ward lead is now Vulcan's actually. They've got one on Dragon. They've swept most of the wards away. I don't think they can see the one inside a Dragon Pit, but they can see CLG come in from the sides, and that might be all they wanted.
That sneaky little ward's going to give vision to CLG, but look how much damage Vulcan are bringing to the table. It's too quick.
Big Fat LP does not have flash. He couldn't jump over the wall. It's going to be Dragon picked up there for Vulcan, bringing themselves a 1,500 gold lead. But remember that middle turret is available, and CLG are piling in for it.
That was just too much damage for CLG to rack. They actually have an amazing Dragon stealing combo where Big Fat LP could Elastic Slingshot over to try and smite, and then even if he did land in a bad spot, they could have Chowster throw a lantern over for him. But they weren't in position to actually pull that one off.
So good job then by Vulcan, wresting control over that side of the map. And Zuna is being sent again on split push duty, on cleanup duty, I should say, and take a lot of these minions home for himself.
And he's not slow pushing that either. He's fast pushing that, trying to get it as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Because Vulcan want to keep up the pressure that they have, since they have this mid turret so low.
They're definitely trying to play a more aggressive game here, trying to close out advantages in the early mid game, using the Twitch burst, using they're really good catch potential as well with the Jarvan, with the Ahri. So see if Vulcan can keep things moving forward. In the end, pushing the top lane, that's going to require a response before too long. See if CLG can hold on and get to that characteristic CLG late game.
And what Vulcan are doing with that the quick side lane push there of Zuna is so that he can roam back and join the rest of his team if they're to set them up for a catch on CLG.
You're looking for it, definitely. It's going to be about ward control and where these guys can go. Doublelift is now on split pushing. Also, like Zuna, he's not slow pushing it either. He is pushing these minion waves as fast as possible, saying, get off of my side of the map. I'll take the gold and rejoin my team quickly. These teams definitely know they need to be ready for the dives that might just come out. Thing is that bottom turret, the bottom outer turret's actually still up. That's something that Vulcan could theoretically go for and get without a lot of trouble, I feel.
And the ward war is over that bottom side to continue, as you can see. So they are putting their eyes towards that bottom side of the map, not only because of the bottom turret that's available, but also the dragon potential.
And there we go. So see if they can keep the wards going. Who's going to win that battle so far? Right now, nothing's really in enemy territory on either side. Neither of these supports have gotten really deep wards into the jungle. They have the middle zone covered more or less, but not a lot too far in. Just kind of one scattered ward a little bit into the jungle on each side.
And that's why we're seeing everyone just quickly shove the lane and then back off, because they don't want to extend into enemy territory and get picked off. Both of the teams actually have pick potential. It's a bit higher here for Vulcan because they have Ahri with already a Deathfire. Grass and Doublelift in trouble. 2 members, more than he expected.
Just dives right on in. Oh, he flashes the crescendo, goes in on Psycho Sid, gets knocked back. This could be the kill for Double. He gets 1. He had a lifesteal Bloodwater. It's going to be close. He might get 2.
God!
Oh, Doublelift double kill. And now Xmithy has no mana. Oh, that just happened. Goodbye.
He finally gets taken out, but that was at the cost of Mandatory Cloud's Flash and Spirit Rush. So that was more people than Doublelift bargained for, but because of the Vayne mechanics, Bloodwater misfired on the crescendo, and now Big Val P chasing Smithy down.
Wow, so great pickups there for Counterlogic Gaming. However, in true to form, Vulcan loses kills and takes down a turret. Of course, CLG pushed down mid as well, and they're actually not showing signs of slowing down. Nian's knocking on the top side right there.
Great execution by CLG, and this is the bonus that you get when you have a skilled duelist like Doublelift, who can take not only 2 people down, but the attention of the entire Vulcan team over to the bottom side of the map. It freed up CLG to put so much pressure on the top and mid lanes that they were able to get a lot of ground back.
Really good stuff here. You can see the gold very close between these teams, 30.5 to 29. So still that 1,500 gold lead that I feel like I mentioned like 8 minutes ago, still exactly the same right here. These teams are holding neck and neck, and I feel like sort of characteristic for CLG games, the clock is kind of taking for Vulcan, that CLG are more at home in these longer games. Like, unless you build that gold lead, that's something that CLG is happy about.
They definitely are more at home. It's kind of like Mike Tyson here. It's Doublelift is like float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. He was running circles around both members of Vulcan there, able to make them look silly, and he's just trying to tire out this Vulcan team and draw them across the map to different areas for the rest of CLG to pick up the free objectives and accumulate that gold lead. So it's just an amazing little adaptation here that CLG have made.
By Mike Tyson. Anyway, sorry. So Vulcan coming on through there. They're still the ones trying to play aggressive. So here we go. The duelist.
Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson.
Thank you.
Same thing.
Yeah. I was going to let you go. But Vulcan have charged down the mid lane. They want a 5v5, not a duel with Doublelift. Here comes the engage from Big Fat Alpino. Can they get the fight? Mancloud forcing them back. The crescendo lands onto 2, but Mancloud gets caught. Shockwave hits 3. Can they get away from this one? Doublelift off on the side. There's the catch onto Zuna. Zuna not in a good place. He's going to go down. Big Fat LP dropped dangerously low, but there is Doublelift finding a second kill. The team running from the acceleration gate. The chase still there. Smithy forced to dodge away.
They're running
the EQ
from
combo.
Mini Zach here. Big Fat LP's got 50 life running at people up there.
He's so
threatening
tiny.
to bite ankles, and Vulcan are just running scared. That was a beautiful death sentence, by the way. Chaucer pulling him into the shockwave. Good synergy from CLG that we're seeing this weekend.
There we go. Oh, shot glass on in the end, but look at the timing on that team fight win for CLG. Dragon is up in 1 second, and that should be enough here for Counterlogic Gaming. They do not have their jungler. He was forced to back after losing all his health, but it's not going to matter. Quick pickup there by CLG, taking that Dragon, making it now a 400 gold game, despite losing that middle inhibitor turret.
CLG definitely making a great case for the comeback here. And they're going to continue to have this Nien and this double lift split pushing on the sides until Vulcan actually make them pay for it.
It seems to be the game plan. These guys are happy to play for the late game, and they're practiced in this sort of gameplay. They know what happens in 50-minute games. They've been there so much. And, you know, this is a team that are really not making any other mistakes at this point. They've fought pretty well. No one's really gotten caught out too severely. They're starting to get dragons and whatnot. This is CLG, I think, a little bit playing their game. And we'll see where they move to next, because Dragon is gone. The outer turrets are gone, so if CLG wants to play aggressive, they've got to go pretty deep.
And they have to watch out for the Merman and Transform, which is coming in the next minute here very soon for Psycho Cities, up to 628, which is almost there. Only another 100. And meanwhile, we have had Zuna continually. He's just hard farming the side lanes. Shoves it up and then recalls. He's almost to the infinity edge. So once he does complete that extra crit damage, then the spray and pray is really going to be dangerous. And we'll have to see CLG splitting up in the team fights to avoid multiple people being taken down by that.
And we'll see if Smithy can just land an amazing Cataclysm to lock them together and prevent that option from happening right here. The red buff started by Psycho Sid, given over to Zuna. So that's going to be grabbed. That's going to be a little bit of team fight power for Zuna. Actually, spray and play will allow him to actually apply red buff to everyone he hits. So a bit more slowing available for these guys. Vulcan now playing the ward game. They've got Oracles on Bloodwater. They're starting to take control over Baron, but CLG still have wards that spot it directly.
Yeah, Vulcan definitely trying to get control of the Baron area with the Oracles. And so it's the same old vision battle that we see often in this time period during the games. But CLG aren't going to let this one go. And Mike Tyson just bites onto his ear and rips off Bloodwater.
Jeez. Holy crap.
I had to bring it back, okay?
All right.
I flubbed it up. I'm pretty sure Muhammad Ali is going to be extremely angry with me because he's a giant League of Legends fan.
He is.
Definitely listening. So we'll go with the ear ripping
Zuna
off
wants to go in on
well.
a double lift, though. It has to turn around as Big Fat LP says no. Zuna actually burned his ulti for that one. So that was kind of interesting, but doesn't get much out of it. No kills picked up there. Ulti's burned, sure. CLG now with a bit of a lead on the map. Bloodwater just now respawning. Big Fat LP might want to go in. He's got a team nearby.
The support is back up, though. We do have Bloodwater running to join his team right now. So, and he didn't use Crescendo in his last death because knew it was going down. So any time that there's no hope like that, save his cooldowns so that you actually have the threat for the next team fight.
So that's going to be the case then. The full team fight power is here, and CLG managed to not pick up any turrets for that. Vulcan defended their territory off the 5v4 and survived here. In fact, ManCloud was pushing the mid lane and kept Nien on his side of the map. So good adaptation, good defense here by the Vulcan squad then. We're seeing double lift. He's got the red buff as well. So Zuna picked his up not too long ago. Now double is wearing one. Link sweeping out the minion waves. Mid lane fully reset at this point. And the top and bottom lane are just slowly pushing kind of in a clockwise pattern right now.
And this CLG have to be very careful right now because we've seen them fall into this trap so many times where at this point in the game, double lift will push another minion wave bottom and be seen by the enemy team, costing an engage at the middle where they lose out on kills. But not today, because double lift is channeling both Mike Tyson and Muhammad Ali.
Oh man, he's boxing with
Powerful
everyone.
man.
You know, fighting Vayne is like boxing with shadows. Or apparently two of the world's best boxers.
That's where I started that one.
That was really where that came from?
It went all to garbage after that. So
that was amazing, though.
I had to give up on it now, though. I think I'm done.
I think I got salvaged, though. I feel like it's one of the better references we've done.
All right. So this giant minion wave down bottom, which double lift normally would have been farming, CLG have actually given up because of the threat of the Baron. And it's doing a decent amount of damage to that bottom turret. So Vulcan they want to make use of the presence that the minions have down on that bottom wave and shove middle to redirect CLG's focus.
And they did just have Doublelift at the top side where they'd have to be afraid of the re-engage, but because they saw double, they got a little bit of free damage. The poke on a Link allows them to go back in. They might just stay for the inhib, but it's so risky.
Oh.
Chauster flash play. He catches onto Smithy. The engage might come in. There goes Big Fat LP, but takes a lot of damage for it. Has to flash right back out, and here comes the re-engage. The shockwave lands onto 2. Mancloud forces to dash back out. Doublelift, he's going to get away from this one. Nia just falls right down, though. Great pick up there. Doublelift forced to run away. A lot of slowing coming out from the box and the dissonance, but they've got control. Link low on HP. The inhib's going to go down. Suna jumps in. Can he get Doublelift? He gets him. Suna's still alive. Can they re-engage? Doesn't matter. They got 2 kills and the inhib, and now they look for the Nexus.
They're going on Nexus towards the power play right now. All members of Vulcan still up. 2 members of CLG down, but home guards mean they can't continue.
They need this acceleration gate to get out right there. Vulcan, they've got to run away from this one. CLG had way more mana than Vulcan did right there, but man, they got a 2 for nothing. They got an inhibitor and a Nexus turret. That is big.
It's a giant chunk out of CLG's base, and they just lost so much map presence by having this 30-minute super minion wave going to constantly be pushing down for Vulcan. So that's one of the most important lanes to have vision in, and they can make plays on both sides of the map because everything is up right now on the map.
And the top side is going to be grabbed here for minion farm for Zuna. So Vulcan will be continuing their AD carry scaling, dedicating their farm onto that Twitch, and he's getting their 262 for the minion score for him. That is the team dedicating farm to him. And Zuna doing a good job of farming those out. So the late game hopes still rush on him, and that's going well.
Yeah, and we just saw the power of Zuna on display in that last fight. He waited for Doublelift to be on the front lines and then flashed forward. Very dangerous as an AD carry to ever flash towards the enemy, but he waited until the second wave of CLG's aggression to then follow up on the engage and pick up the kill. And that was with the Infinity Edge. So this extra money that Zuna's accruing right now is just going to increase his crit chance to make it more likely that he does get those big bursts.
So now Baron is on the table as Dragon got cleared out by Vulcan. The Baron dance has begun, and CLG are going to make Vulcan march to their beat right here. They're kind of playing DJ, making him dance because the Baron now losing about a third of his health, down below half, but Vulcan is coming in from the side.
Crescendo! They're grouping up for Bloodwater. He does have...
Big Fat LP goes in though. Zuna has stealthed out. He's gotten out of range. The charm lands, and 1 kill picked up. They find Link and Doublelift. Double kill picked up. Triple kill picked up. Here we go. Nien in the middle of the enemy team. Zuna will fall over, but Nien will die. And Chaucer, the only man left alive. Remember, only 1 turret stands between Vulcan and the Nexus.
Because they already have that Nexus turret down, they're not even going to go for Baron right now. They're going to rush to end the game.
Here they go. They've got a super minion, and Chaucer's the only man alive. 20 seconds until anyone else from CLG comes back up, and they are just diving in right here. This could very well be the game for Vulcan. Pushing on forward, turret losing health rapidly, and there's still 12 seconds to go. This very well is the game for Vulcan. They dive in on a Chaucer. They don't really need to, but that's going to be the game. The ace, the Nexus, and there they go. Standing up. Well played, Vulcan.
Vulcan really returning to form this week. They had a few hiccups last week after being talked up for their second place achievements, but it looks like they've really returned to form now.
Yeah, they had some hiccups, but as you kind of know, getting scared usually makes you stop hiccuping, and that seemed to be what happened. They said, guys, we've had a really rough couple of weeks. Let's freaking do this. Come on. Like, we know what we're doing. We're the #2 team, and you saw them take care of business right there. Very good team fighting. That last one, the charm on the Big Fat LP, opened up everything. Zuna was safe. They caught Doublelift. They caught Link. That was a really good fight by them.
Oh, the whole burst combo right there from Mancloud onto Big Fat LP was just game-changing because there was no cell division up. Taking that out early meant that Doublelift was exposed on the side. And so having him flank on the side, we saw Bloodwater hold his crescendo, try and get both of them, and they were able to finish him off. Taking out Doublelift means CLG has very little threat.
So well played then by Vulcan. Now guys, we've of course got more stuff on the day, but we've got to take a short break first. However, when we return, Vulcan's Mancloud will join us to talk about winning their second game of the day. Then it's time for our 6th and final match of the day, which is Team Coast versus Velocity Esports. The North American League of Legends Championship Series will be right back.